little explanation on why our live went completely dark and shut down, and share with you my experiences in the astral and how it tied into what we were talking about, and kind of give you an example of how those messages can come and how to look out for them. Hello, beautiful creatures. Welcome to my channel. I am Aradia, the Witch of Dark Light, and I hope y'all are doing well. This video wasn't really planned. I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about the live that my husband and I just did, and share a little information about what my experiences was in the astral that night, and just, little things that's going on right now with all of this collective energy. So if this is your first time here, please do consider subscribing. Welcome to my channel, All Things Witchy. And for all of you who are still here with me on this journey, I love you all. Thank you for being here. And for those of you that are new, just coming, joining this Witch of Dark Light world, I thank you and you are welcomed. So let's get right into it.
Can't have one without the other. The dark without the light.
So I want to talk about the live that my husband and I did. We always have fun doing those lives, and what happened was, and the topic was about aliens, extraterrestrials, ETs, and spirits, beings, and entities. The cross differences and things like that, and beliefs in them, and your level of belief in them. So, all of that. And of course, we segue into different things all the time on our lives, which is why it's so much fun. So, and for all of you who join the live, continuously join us over there, we appreciate you and we thank you for joining our lives with, with just like, sometimes it's random stuff. But anyway, so we got cut off because yesterday, it was this rainstorm, and we are in April showers brings May flowers, we all know that saying, but it was a very bad storm. So, and we were in like an hour and a half, maybe over an hour and a half into the live, but it still was good. It was good. So we were, just for us, it seemed like it was only like 20 minutes and we were really just revving up. And all of a sudden, boom, lights went out, everything went out. And we were sitting in the dark staring at the monitor. So that it was like it glitched out for like not even a full minute, so it came back on. So we were like, okay, maybe that was just a quick glitch. So we began to try to log back on, and then boom, it went out again. So we just was like, okay, it's time to call it a night. But yeah, power went out with the storm. And it's funny, my granddaughter came out of the room and she was like, what's happening? Looking at us like we did something. But yeah, our power went out, and so we had to end the live. So we were ending with talking about, always it winds up ending or within the conversation, our conversation is talking about our fears and where those come from. And a lot of times we begin to talk about fears of heaven and hell, and coming out of Christianity, and looking at things that may be considered more dark. And how do you even do that? Some of us come out of it, and I always say we think logically that, oh, okay, this path isn't right for me. I feel something wrong. And I don't want to just talk about, Christianity. There's other paths that are out there that we find ourselves being indoctrinated in because of our families and growing up. And then we find out when we get older that this comes into conflict with who we truly are. So we spend time, all of that is, and this was a lot of what I was saying in the live, that we logically, our brain says, the logic part of our brain says, okay, this is not right. So you logically say, okay, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that anymore. But the problem is all of the teachings and the doctrines and, has been enforced and like solidified in your fibers and your beings and your core. So logic is not going to take that out. It is just time, actually, time, and you working on it. And the card that we pulled for the live was resilience. So it's even in that you have to be resilient and continuing going on a path, because it's not overnight. And I share this quite a bit. It's not overnight. I know from experience of being born into this, like, since I was 2, 3 years old, looking at the Bible, and all the way up until I left home, my late teen years. And I lived with this understanding of this was it. I always felt something was wrong, but I didn't fight against it because, this is what I was brought up in. And then, I had my journey of running away and foster homes, group homes. That's another YouTube video. But even in that, I still had that dogma inside of me and that belief. So it wasn't until I was in my latter 20s that I even began to really question it. So all those years inside of me, this belief, all those years. So it's not going to go away overnight. You have to work on it, etch at it, bit by bit. So we were talking about that and the fears, right? What fear can do in our perception of it. And sometimes our perception of things make something be presented in a way that the visual of it is fearful. So I want to share with you, because there's ways that you can tell, right? There's ways that you can know each part of your journey at what level that you are at. There's always signs, right? There's always signs if, because sometimes you feel like, okay, I got this, right? And then there's always something that comes along and tell you, no, you don't. You still have a little more working to do. So I'm not what's the word? I'm not exempt from that. So I've reached this level, but there's still some things in my life that needs a little more working on. So my prayer is always, you'll hear me saying a lot of my prayers, and I did an opening, like a little prayer, blessing on a live in the beginning. And you'll always hear me say, give me eyes to see and ears to hear the messages that you are sending me to help me on my path, to show me the way, so I can see the things that's necessary for me to heal and grow. So that's always my prayer. And I'm always it gets answered. It shows me the things. And sometimes it's not always, it's not always comfortable, but it's necessary, having that resilience, right? So, and then the second card that we pulled was sacrifice. And I kind of went hand in hand. And I was saying it's not always sacrifice. That word is like, you don't want to hear that word coming, right? But that word is not always bad, because sacrifice to us just may be the thing that we don't want to let go of, but it's necessary because it could be blocking our blessings. So that night, after we had during the live, the doorbell rung, and that was our takeout food. So after the live, we sat, and the lights came back on, and we ate our takeout food. So we went to bed. And the thing about it is I didn't even have my tea, my Blue Lotus tea that I've been drinking each night. And I don't drink it every night. And last night happened to be, after the live, happened to be one of the nights that I didn't drink it. So I proceeded to go into the astral. And if you know me, there's been many times I've shared about astral experiences that are a little provocative and sexual, and my thoughts behind what I feel like a lot of those experiences represent. So I'm almost hesitant to talk about this, but so I went into the astral, and there were a lot of other things going on, which is usually the case. But the thing that is meant for me to see kind of stands out, and it's always either like the eyes, and certain features are, it's expansive. So I remember seeing this tall, I don't want to say angelic, I want to say Romanesque, almost like a Roman Greek model, and very Venusian, and almost his skin almost looked fake. It almost looked like he was like a statue, a Greek god statue coming to life. So he was tall, beautiful skin, this dark, curly hair. And I remember just staring at him, and I don't know what transpired, but we hooked up. And I remember going to meet him at his home. And I was, I think I just had on like this silky satiny robe, and that was it, and like some lingerie. And I remember saying to myself, as if I was lucid in the astral, saying to myself, this is not my nature. Like, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm married. Like, where am I going? So I remember saying all of this. So I get to the house. I still was going, right? So I get to his house. He lets me in. It's like and this embrace, this warm embrace. And then, we proceeded to like make out, have foreplay, kiss and hug and all of that. And I remember his body. He's like this tall, very tall, that slim, muscular. I remember very, very angelic looking. And when I say angelic, I mean more like androgynous, almost like a angelic form of Lucifer. I remember him going. This is where it took a turn to the left, because I think I was in and out of being lucid in the astral. So this is where it took a turn, right? He goes. And it was just like we were having like this mental telepathy conversation going on. And he wanted me to go down. And yeah, I don't want to speak this out loud because it's not just me alone in this house. But, he wanted me to do oral sex. So I remember being hesitant, but still doing it. So all of a sudden the scene switched, and I could feel his disappointment. And it was a different disappointment because, when the scene switched, we were in the bed, and it was like very romanticized, and, very, it was I keep thinking warm embrace, right? So after that, I woke up and I was like, well, what was that about? So I kept thinking about it, because when things are meant for me to know, when things are a message, because I forget a lot. It comes back to me, dreams or astral ventures. But this one, I woke up with, and it every part of what happened, what I'm telling you, I remembered. Something just said that's not what it was about. The obvious was not what it was about. So, obvious to me was what I just shared with you. Like, that's what happened. But it was more, the message was, because of the live we did, the conversation we were having, it was showing me you still have some things that you are still not embracing, right? So that was the part where it was wanting me to go down and do oral sex. That was representing the things that I still think are maybe, that's still that residual of Christianity, right? The residual of things that I may still have a problem with. it's showing me there's remnants of that still there because I was hesitant. I still did it, but I was hesitant. So that the act of that represented my hesitancy in moving forth in some of the things that I still need to completely embrace. It was almost like that being was my guide by the warm embrace. So why am I sharing this with you? The reason I wanted to share this is a couple of reasons. One, if we want to know something, and the topic was fear of the things that we know are should not be a part of our path and it doesn't resonate with us, but we're trying to find our way out. But fears hold us back. We can receive those downloads and messages on how to proceed or where it is that we need to heal from. You can ask, put that message out there. Say the prayer that I say, right? Say every day, wake up, and it's a prayer, a affirmation type of prayer. Give me the eyes to see, the ears to hear the messages that you send me, for my healing, for my growth, for my path, for me to learn, right? Say this every day. You will receive, it will come to you. If your desire is to get through this, break through, break free and heal, break free from the fear. And two, when those messages happen, you want to pay attention because it could come to you in the way that it came to me, and you just may wake up and say, oh, I had sex with this, gorgeous being in the astral. And you may miss the true meaning of that. So really get into your allegorical mind, get into your philosophical mind, and and things that happen to you out of the norm, think about that in those ways and really dissect it so you won't miss out on your messages, because you're praying for the eyes to see and the ears to hear your messages. So I thought this was, I wanted to share because this is a perfect example of it showing up and letting me know that you still have this to work on. You still need to embrace this completely. Like you're almost there. I got you in my warm embrace. But I just want to let you know that you have a little bit more to go, to break through, to walk in your fullness, totally free from fear. That is what I wanted to share with all of you beautiful souls today. The next time we go live, it will 100% not be during a Mercury retrograde. So the next time we go live will most likely be at some point the first week of May, maybe even the second week, because shadow period and all. Not that I subscribe to the fear of Mercury retrograde, because I don't. And before I finish, let me talk a little bit about these energies that is happening right now. There's a lot of fear that happens when certain alignments take place. Is historically, the ancients believed that eclipses were omens, because darkness was cast over the lands. But that's a lot of where that comes from. But if you really look at it on a personal level, also, especially, it's not always bad. For me, even though, little glitches, lights out and all of that, little glitches, I still am looking forward to these alignments because, I feel it. I feel change. I feel the growth coming, the change coming. I feel things like, being released off. So, and that's just my feeling for it. But you don't have to be scared when you hear things like, oh, Mercury retrograde, and it's happening during the month of we're going to have our solar eclipse. Oh, this is a solar eclipse in a placement that hasn't happened in a long time. So it's like extra special. And we have Jupiter and Uranus meeting up, which is very good for me, in my opinion. And then we have Venus in a certain placement. So it's a lot going on. And when you hear all of these things, especially if you don't understand it, it can seem overwhelming and cause anxiety and fear. But this is when you what do they call that? Bat down the hatches and just you home in and you bring yourself into that moment, and you just think about it and think, how can this help you? How can you navigate these energies? How can you work through this? What does that mean for you personally? Not the collective, for you personally. So yeah, that's just a little bit about my feeling on what this month is bringing forth in that Mercury retrograde. So if you have any more questions about that dream, or if you want to come over and join us on Patreon, Sunday we're having another Zoom where we do a little meditation and tap into these portal energies, and channel to be able to it's kind of like preparing your body to receive those downloads during this time, and be aware of it, be awakened to it. So we will be having our live Zoom on Patreon Sunday, the 7th, right before the eclipse, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so after the meditation, in that channeling session, we'll just share our experiences, what we're feeling, and all as usual. There will be a little divination happening, a little channeling happening, and sharing. So if you want to join us, come on over. You are invited. So that is it for today. That is all I wanted to come in and share with you, give a little explanation on why our live went completely dark and shut down, and share with you my experiences in the astral and how it tied into what we were talking about, and kind of give you an example of how those messages can come and how to look out for them. So until the next video, I love you all, and into the shadows.